Hey guys, and thanks for checking in. I am Sonya with Sonya's Open Cupboard, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about sleep health because it's real important. So for a long time, my sleep health was really not the best, and I didn't really think about it twice because honestly it wasn't trendy at that point. So in my mind I was like, I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to fall asleep when I fall asleep. It's fine. And then it started getting trendy. So I was like, oh, I guess I should pay a little bit more attention to this. So when I did, I realized that for one, sleep health videos are overwhelming. There are a million steps, and I was like, I gotta do that. You don't have to have a million steps. So the second thing I realized is I had a pretty bad sleep routine. I was eating chocolate like right before I went to bed, and I was also going to bed at like midnight, watching TV up until that point. And instead of listening to my internal clock, like I was letting myself get way too tired, and then I would kind of get a second wind, and then I would get stressed and annoyed, and I was awake. And usually the house was perfectly clean by the time I went to bed because I would just be awake. So that's what I would do. I would clean, and then I'd go to bed really late. The problem with that was I was going to bed way too late, and I was waking up way too early. So I thought it was essential for me to wake up at 6 o'clock so I could work out. And yes, it was helpful for me to work out that earlier, but it left a lot less sleep time. So I was getting probably between 5.5 hours to 7 hours of sleep at night, and I thought that was perfectly fine. So I decided I needed to change my routine a little bit because I really wasn't getting enough sleep. I was eating a lot more often because I was tired, and like it was eating because I wasn't hungry, but I was just tired. So I was like, oh, energy. And then I was also a lot more stressed, and I was just in this continuous cycle of staying up too late, going to bed too, staying up too late, and then waking up too early. So like I said, once I started diving into sleep health videos, I realized that like, dang, there are a lot of steps, and I need something that I can do within 30 minutes. So I decided to take a step back and look at what routines I already had. Because honestly, a routine can be anything. It can be brushing your teeth, washing your face, putting socks on, and getting in bed. Like that can be a routine as long as it's what you do every single day. So I started to look at what I already did. So I would wash my face, I would brush my teeth. Sometimes I would listen to audiobooks, or I would read a book, and just simple things like that. So I already had a routine going, and I was like, okay, well, those are already good things. So I want to kind of reinvent my sleep routine and focus on the good and adding more of those good things in, and just kind of leaving the other things that are bad behind. So the first thing I tried to stop doing was eating dessert really late. I love to have dessert every night. I'm not a fan of going without chocolate, and I do get affected by caffeine, and of course caffeine's in chocolate. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to deprive myself of something that I absolutely love. So I'll just switch my routine. Most nights now I actually have dessert by 8 o'clock. So I'll have it at least like 7:30 or by 8 o'clock, because before I was eating it way too late in the night. I mean, if this doesn't work for you, it's totally fine. I'm just letting you know what worked for me. So it was avoiding caffeine later in the day. And I always notice if I have chocolate or if I have dessert like at 9 o'clock or any later than that, I really can't sleep until like midnight. And that's just what I was doing beforehand. And that's just something I realized was the cause. So I kind of put that aside. I kept it in my routine. I just changed things up a little bit. So it wasn't super overwhelming, like, oh, I have to give this up now. So that's the first thing that I decided to change. So the second thing I decided to change was working out. I, for a long time, didn't really have a good schedule of working out, and recently I've gotten into a really good schedule where I know I'm working out at least 4 times a week, and if I don't work out, I go for a walk. Daniel and I love to go for walks in the evening anyway, even if it's just 10 minutes, and I found that this has like benefited my sleep routine immensely. It's made the biggest difference is going for a walk in the evening. So That way, if you have any pent up energy or if you're stressed, like that's a big part of it. Like even if I'm like really tired, it's nice to just go for a little leisurely walk because it's a stress reliever. You get time outside, you get time that you're not on any social media or you're not in front of any screens. You're with a person that you like or maybe your dog that you like. And it's just a really nice time to kind of unwind and get your mind ready to like be in rest mode. So that's one thing I found that has really helped me, and then it also helps me to get like my energy out. So if I haven't worked out in the day, it's gone, like it's good. So it's taken care of. What I forgot to mention at the beginning was that I was getting, like I said, I was getting about 5.5 to 7 hours of sleep, and I was reading up on it, and it was saying that it's actually good for adults my age to get between 8 and 9 hours of sleep. So I really wanted to try that. I was like, well, I want to see how it would benefit me, because I always was in the mentality that like, oh, fit in as many hours of productivity in the day that you can. So sleep, you can, since you can go with a little bit less, like you might as well go with less. So I was like, can I be just as productive and maybe even improve productivity if I go to bed earlier and wake up later? Then I'll give it a go. So lately, for the last, I think 4 or 5 months, I've been getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep every single night. And I don't usually set an alarm, and I don't really make myself get in bed by a certain time, because I just kind of like go with the flow. And if I'm feeling really tired, I'll get in bed. If I'm not feeling so tired, I'll kind of like slowly wind myself down for bed. So that's just something I wanted to mention before we continue on. So going along with that, one of the biggest tips that I have I didn't really realize I was doing until I was like writing down this whole sleep routine video, and I was like, oh, that's definitely something that I've been doing that I haven't really realized, but it's been a super big help. So what I have been doing is I'll start to think like, oh, I want to be in bed by 10 o'clock tonight. So then I'll turn off the television at 9:30, because I know that getting ready and getting some tea or going to get a drink of water or doing whatever, I'm going to dawdle and I'm going to take my time. So if my intention is to get in bed at 10 o'clock and I turn off the TV at 9:55, I'm not going to get in bed until like 10:30. So this is a way of really getting on top of a schedule, like knowing that you want to be in bed, so you are in bed, like just making sure it happens. And it's giving yourself enough time to get ready and to do your routine. Because in the past, if I wanted to be in bed early, or if I was really tired, I would sometimes skip my routine just to be in bed at that time because I was watching TV too late, or I was on my phone too late. Like one of those things, like I just wasn't giving myself enough time. So that's a big improvement that I've seen over the past couple months to get more sleep, is to set a time and allow yourself to get in bed. So when it comes to my like skincare routine and like brushing my teeth and like getting ready for bed, I was doing all the normal things like washing my face, brushing my teeth, putting on moisturizer or whatever. But I decided to add in using lavender essential oils into my face oils, because I figured, oh, well, this is a really easy and quick way to make sure that I put on lavender oil and I get a little bit more relaxed before I go to bed without even thinking about it. Like it's already part of my routine. All I have to do is put the little bottle of lavender oil next to my face oil, and that's all I have to think about. So that was like a really quick and easy way to just add it in. Another thing that I really like that I added in, I don't do this every night, but it's to incorporate like a little bit of luxury. So basically this can be anything you want it to be. It can be brushing your hair, it can be doing a lip scrub, it can be putting lotion on your feet, like I don't care. Like as long as it's something that you don't normally do and it's just a little extra something that just like makes you feel good and makes you feel really fresh, go for it. When it comes to actually getting into bed, I love to be so cozy and warm and comfortable. And Dan, my husband, does not like to be that way. Like he likes it to be as cold as possible. So what we do is we just crank up the AC, and I have a ton of blankets that I usually sleep with, and I make sure they're on my side. So like it's part of getting a good night's sleep is to realize like what you like when you go to bed. So I have all my comfy pillows and all my comfy blankets, and I just like cozy on up, and that's what I really enjoy. One of the things that is kind of a problem in our apartment is that the windows, there's a light right outside our windows, and that goes right to our bed, so it's pretty bright at night, especially if there's a full moon. So I have been using an eye mask recently, and I thought these were like the weirdest things in the world. Like, I thought they were so strange and silly. And even when I was watching these sleep health videos, I was like, these girls are crazy for wearing them. That must be so uncomfortable. But let me tell you, I decided to use one a few weeks ago, because it was just so bright in our room, and I was like, I couldn't take it anymore. I was sleeping with like blankets on my face because I was like, I just can't do it. So I tried the sleeping mask, and now I can't sleep without them. Like, it's one of those weird things that I thought I would never do. I'm doing it now. It works really well. If you don't want to do it, that's cool. I'm just letting you know that I'm really enjoying it. Another really helpful tip is to incorporate magnesium if you need it. My holistic doctor was saying that it would be probably helpful for me because I was drinking coffee, and I do drink coffee from time to time, and as a female, it's good to take a magnesium if you're drinking coffee, because coffee actually can strip your body of magnesium. If you want to ever look more into that, you can check out some of Melissa Ramos's videos, and she kind of goes into depth about that. I'm not an expert. I'm just letting you know what I've been told and what I've read up on. So if you want to check her out, she has some videos on that. One of the other things that I like to do is to either have tea before bed or to have a glass of water. So I make sure that I'm hydrated before bed, because it's actually a lot harder to fall asleep if you're dehydrated, and which makes sense. Like, your body most of it is water, so I can't remember the exact percentage, but most of your body is water, and if you're dehydrated, you're not going to be able to sleep. So yeah, just make sure you have a glass of water, and I have at least 8 ounces before I go to bed. You don't have to like guzzle down a whole huge bottle of water, which is what I used to do, because I was like, I'm going to cheat the system and I'm just going to like drink a whole bunch of water. It doesn't work. Like, just drink 8 ounces of water. You'll be fine. Like, that's all your body really needs. If you're more thirsty, have some more water, but oh well. So yeah, it really takes like some really small, simple steps to make bedtime so much better and so much easier and so much more enjoyable. One of the things I had a hard time detaching from was the television, because I don't know, there's just like, I grew up watching TV at night with my parents. Like, it's just something so nice about watching a show before you go to bed. And I know it's not the best thing for you, so and especially in my mind, like, oh, I'm going to stop watching TV a whole 30 minutes before I go to bed. Like, that was kind of weird to get used to in my mind. So what I decided to do is I downloaded Audible. I downloaded Audible. So what I did was I downloaded Audible, and I got some books on tape. And it is so nice to go to bed with someone reading to you. I don't know if you guys remember what it was like to fall asleep when your parents were reading a book to you, but it was just like so magical. And I just remember that feeling of it just being so comforting and like amazing, and I just loved it. So I started to listen to books on Audible, and it is seriously the best thing in the world. And I have this one book that I'll tell you about because it's amazing. It's called The Storyteller, and it is like one of the best books I've ever read. Like, it's just so good, and it's a fiction book. I found that listening to like real life accounts or like self-help books they didn't really make me feel relaxed. And also, like, the real books, I was listening to a war book, and I kept on having all these dreams about being in war, and it just wasn't a good idea. Like, I was like, this is a little bit too much. This is a little too hectic before bed. So I've been reading this book, The Storyteller, and it's just, it's so good. And I love falling asleep to it. So find yourself a good book to listen to Or just read a book if you like to just sit there and read. My eyes get really tired, and I like to just like lay down and kind of rest while I listen to it. So that's why I prefer it. And you can always just put a little sleep timer on for like 25 or 30 minutes, whatever you want to do. So that's all I've been implementing, and I've found that sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night is really easy. And to be well rested is fairly simple. So instead of taking this video as kind of like an overwhelming amount of information, because I know I did give you a lot about what I'm changing and what I'm doing, but basically this is what worked for me. And you gotta think what works for you. Break it down into small steps. So like for me, I've just started with, okay, what am I doing now that's actually working? That's cool. I'll keep them in my routine. What am I doing now that kind of sets me back a little bit? Okay, I'll work on that. Don't pressure yourself to take something out fully or to be really strict or to do this. Take the pressure off and just change maybe one thing at a time. Instead of having chocolate after 9 o'clock, eat it right at 8 o'clock. If you want to be in bed at a certain time, turn the television off 30 minutes beforehand. If you already have a good beauty routine, just add in some lavender oil on your hands or your palms or your neck, and it'll just kind of calm you down a little bit. These are all really simple things that you don't have to incorporate them all because they're what works for me, but work on it little step by step and try to figure out what you like, what you enjoy, and let me know. I would love to hear more about what your sleep routine is like, because I'm just interested by those things. I like to learn about other people. So let me know. This is just something about me, and I just wanted to give you some information. So if you needed help with a better sleep routine, here you go. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a good night's sleep. I really hope you do. Thanks for stopping by. See ya. Thanks, Dan.
Welcome.
I love you.
Love you too.